Hello. Let's see if a few people would jump on, but I believe I am live. How was everyone's weekend? What are you having for lunch? Feel free to comment. This time, I promise, I'll try to keep up with all y'all's comments because I didn't know where it was last time during my first live. So this is my second time doing a Facebook Live on my real estate agent page. I've done a few lives with the Dream Dirt team that we have every Wednesday at 10 a.m. So we'll have one tomorrow where we're going to cover what an auctioneer is, what is an auction, just everything auction related tomorrow. But this is only my second episode of Selling the Farm series. And today we are just going to cover the 5 different options and ways that you can sell your farmland. So feel free to jump on and say hi. If you're here, just give a few more minutes so people can sit down and enjoy their lunch and just watch me talk to everyone. So I want to keep these episodes very casual. I want to get to know you guys as well. And if you have any questions that you don't want to write in the comment section for some reason, always feel free to message me through the private chat as well, or my phone number is 515-954-8063, and you can always give me a call or text me after you watch this video, or if you're watching the recording, always feel free to give me a ring or give me a buzz there as well. So looks like a few of you have jumped on. Making sure I can still see the comments. Okay, so the first way that you can sell your land, and probably the most traditional way that people see how farmland is traded and shown in the industry, I guess, is by a live bidding auction. So I kind of want to put the picture in your head and kind of just set the scene. So you might be thinking of people gathering at a community center or a church or some sort of building that is rented out by the auctioneer, the auction company, and everyone comes in at a certain time. Usually it's in the morning, maybe in the early afternoon. Y'all come in, the bidders get a number, check in, sit down, grab some coffee, a donut maybe. Some bankers might be there, some other real estate agents and auctioneers might be there as well. The auctioneers are walking around the room just making sure everyone is comfortable and good to go. There might be some land projected up on the projector showing the drone video. You'll have a pamphlet if you're a checked-in bidder of all the information about the farm with soil maps and whatnot. And so that's just kind of the environment that you're walking into during a live auction. I do want to mention that Dream Dirt, along with live bidding at a live auction where people actually show up, we also include the online bidders. So we call it a hybrid simulcast auction. And so now I just want to jump into the pros and cons over each way of selling farmland. So the pros to a live auction is that, and also with online auctions, they kind of tie together, is that as a seller, you can set the terms and conditions that bidders have to agree to for auctions. Another method is selling land by listing, and this is where auctions and listings are very different, is that you as a seller can set the terms and conditions. This means you set the auction date, you set the amount of earnest money that you'd like to collect, you set the closing date, so many more terms and conditions as you set as a seller during an auction. Like I said, it's widely recognized as more of the traditional way of selling land, and they've really changed our ways this year. A lot of auction companies have jumped onto the bandwagon of having online land auctions, and I do want to point out that Dream Dirt has actually been the pioneer of online land auctions. Dream Dirt's been doing them for about 10 years now, so it's not new to us in 2020. That's something I do every day, is that I help build our online land auctions. I follow up with the bidders, I reduce the bid increments, I watch everything that happens in our online land auctions, which is the second method that I'll cover, but I guess I'm kind of jumping the gun. So let's get back to live bidding auctions. Another pro is that The auctioneer will be chanting out loud. It's kind of like a fast-paced environment. The atmosphere is really cool to sit and enjoy as the public might show up, family members will show up. It's really just fast-paced and a little exhilarating. And like I said, the auctioneer is chanting, and with Dream Dirt, we include the online bidders. So I actually clerk those online land auctions along with Nicole, and we take in all the online bids and relay that to the auctioneer who is chanting. So a con going off of that though, so the atmosphere, picture yourself as a bidder, sitting there around your family, people you go to church with, maybe the tenant is there bidding. There's a lot of social pressures that can actually be placed on someone that is bidding at a live auction. So um, that kind of is a con because they might not bid up to their max potential because they don't want to bid against the tenant. They don't want to bid in front of their peers. So that is a con to live bidding auctions. Also, you as a seller might feel a little bit more stressed if you're at a live auction, unlike our online land auctions. At a live auction, as a seller, sometimes you're sitting in the same room as the auction is taking place. You're seeing who's bidding, you're listening to what the auctioneer is getting for bids, and then you go off into a separate room and the auctioneer is saying, okay, are you good to sell your farm? Is this a good price? What do we need to get back at? If we go back into the room after this break, once we're talking to you, what do you need to do? Like, are you ready to sell? Let's get this done. So it's a lot of stress in a short amount of time. And this is just kind of a con to the live auction, especially for a seller and, like I mentioned, to bidders. But there are so many good things about a live auction as well. We have one coming up in October, early October. We have the Larry Schenkelberg estate auction in Carroll and Greene County. So if you want to see what a live auction is like, I highly recommend that you come out and join us. It's going to be an awesome auction, and all the details are on our Dream Dirt page there as well. So going into the second way of selling farmland, what I mentioned was online bidding only auctions. We call them timed online auctions. And this is on our bid.dreamdirt.com page if you'd like to see them. But what I mentioned is that live bidding really puts pressures on the bidders. So with online bidding, bidders can actually bid from the comfort of their home. It really takes away that friction and social pressures that they see and they experience at a live auction. And especially because the bidder's name does not display. I can see it because they register and I can see who is registering the bid. I follow up with them, I call them, I stay in touch with them. But when you're bidding online, you actually just see the bidder number. So it is very private. You can't see who is bidding against you. And it's just a nice way so bidders can really submit their bid to the highest potential, to the highest bid that they're willing to place. Unlike a live auction, they might kind of sit back down and just say, no, I'll let this guy bid or something like that. So thank you to whoever Dream Dirt admin team shared the auction coming up. There is a link in the comments if you see that. I think Jason shared it. Thank you for doing that. And another pro about our online land auctions is that I truly believe that they are the most powerful way to sell farmland. This is because our past auctions have really achieved high market prices because the bidders are willing to bid up to their maximum potential on an online bid. If you're curious about any of our past auctions, they are on our bid.dreamdirt.com page, the past auction tab. You can see all the results there. We also have some recordings of past online land auctions that I can send you, or I can show you what your online land auction would look like if you decide to sell it that way. We've got a lot of helpful information and videos that I can share too if you have more questions about how online land auctions work because they might be new to you. bidders can bid literally from anywhere. They don't have to show up to that community center building or a church or whatnot. So we've had people bid at football games. We've had people bid while they're driving in the car or a tractor if they're riding along. Bidding just from your home on the couch. So it's really just a nice way we can reach people throughout the whole US. You can bid anywhere. And one more pro that I want to mention, and this is tying back to what I mentioned with the live bidding location. For sellers, you as a seller, online bidding auctions are really more stress free because you can watch the bidding happen over 30 days. And you can actually agree to confirm the sale of your auction maybe 2, 3 nights, any time before the auction actually ends online. And this just kind of relieves some stress to you. So you can really just watch your auction grow, watch the bidding happen over time instead of just that short time frame at a live only auction. So that was just one more pro that I want to mention there. So a couple of cons about online land auctions is that the auctioneer doesn't chant out loud, but the time does tick down and it flashes when someone bids, and it still kind of creates that exhilarating experience for bidders. And I did mention that Dream Dirt has been doing this for about 10 years now, and I do just want everyone to be careful about when they choose companies and kind of vet out auctioneers. Is that we've been doing it for 10 plus years, but there are auction companies that are just now dabbling in online land auctions. So just make sure you pick a company that really understands online auctions and help you sell your land now, since 2020 has just really kind of opened up the ways that other auctioneers have decided to sell land. So choose a reputable company that has sold lots of land and acres over online bidding software. Like I said, all of our online auctions are at bid.dreamdirt.com. We have a ton coming up this fall, so you can check them all out there. Also, a con is that sometimes properties don't fit online land auctions the best, and that's where you can reach out to me as a land agent and auctioneer and really discuss the best way to sell your farm. So sometimes auctions just maybe aren't the perfect fit for pasture or recreational properties or acreages. We have sold those properties by online land auction, don't get me wrong, they've worked out great. But sometimes a listing, which is the third method I want to talk about, is sometimes a better option. So pro about listings, and I guess I can set the scene for that as well, is that this is what you see driving down the road, a sign in the yard with the agent or auctioneer, the agent's name, since you have to be a licensed real estate agent in Iowa to sell land by listing, which I am. I have my real estate license in Iowa. So you see the agent's name and their phone number, who to contact, and then you can visit it usually on a website. So all of our listings are at dreamdirt.com under the land for sale tab. And with a listing, obviously you set the price as a seller. I can help you decide that price as well. We can reach a good price to go ahead and publish. With that, investors can actually see and calculate what their return rate would be, the cap rate and whatnot, and this kind of helps them decide how much they would offer on the farm if that listing price was in their price range for an investment purposes. And I do want to mention, I was just talking to Jason actually about who typically buys our farmland, and I think we're going to cover this in one of our Dream Dirt live videos on Wednesdays. But a lot of people fear that investors actually buy land, and I'm not saying that they don't, but typically with Dream Dirt auctions and listings, a lot of farmers and family members and neighbors actually buy land from our auctions and listings. So if you're nervous about investors buying your land, I wouldn't be. We'll cover that topic though with the Dream Dirt team, and you can watch that. That'll be coming up sometime soon, hopefully. So Jason and I were just talking about that. Did want to mention it. So one more pro about listings is that marketing and advertising is all done by the brokerage and the agent, just like we do with our Dream Dirt auctions as well. We handle all the marketing and advertising, and that I will cover in the next method as a con, actually. So, a con to listings is that buyers present you with the offer and contingencies and they set the terms and conditions. Um, and then you as a seller either have to accept, you have to counteroffer or decline those offers. Unlike an auction where I said that you as a seller with an auction, you set the terms and conditions. So this is opposite with a listing. The buyer sets the terms and conditions. You can also easily overprice your farm if you're not in the right range. And unlike an auction, where an auction works up the ladder each time, so once you get a bid at 1,000, then the next person at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, you always go up the ladder. You never go down. But with a listing, it goes from 0 to an offer, and you either have to accept, counteroffer, decline it. And say you decline it, you decline a $500,000 offer. Well, you decline it, you start back at 0 until someone comes through the door and makes another offer on your property. So an auction, you could stay at 400,000 until people keep bidding. You're never going to drop down to 0. But with listings, you can go all the way high and then all the way back down to 0 pretty quickly. So that is one big difference between auctions and listings. Also, listings typically require a higher commission rate. That's something I can talk about later on about fees and commissions for selling your land if you choose to have an auctioneer or real estate agent sell your land for you. Typically with listings though, you have to pay both the seller brokerage and the buyer brokerage because they're working together to help connect a buyer for you so you can get your land sold. That's why I truly believe Dream Dirt's online land auctions are the most powerful way, the easiest way for sellers to sell their land, and the most stress-free because we can offer lower commission rates on those online land auctions when you choose to do it that way. Another con is that if you have multiple owners on the piece of property, sellers, you all have to agree to the terms and conditions that the buyer presents, so that could be a little tricky. Unlike an auction, all the sellers, owners of that piece of property have to agree to the terms and conditions so we can go ahead and publish that on our website so buyers agree to it. Also with a listing, if it's an acreage or a house, you might have multiple open houses. There's always buyers asking, can I come see it? Can I come see it tonight? Can I come see it this weekend? With an auction, what we do at Dream Dirt is that we actually set just 2, 3 maybe open house dates. It's a set time, set date. You know as a seller when that's going to happen. And especially if you're living in that house or acreage, it can be a little difficult with listings having people stop in all the time. So we'll just jump into the fourth method, which kind of is similar to a listing. It is for sale by owner. FSBO is a way that you can sell land. And I'm just giving out as much information that I can about each method. I'm not stopping you from putting your own sign in the yard with your phone number and you can try to sell your land. You definitely can. It works for some people. But I just want you to know that I'm a really good resource and tool for you if you're looking to sell your land, and I can help market and advertise your land for free too. So jump into a couple of the pros is that you can get the job done yourself, and that you deal directly with all the potential buyers, so you receive all the inquiries. There might be a few agents out there that may not tell a seller every single thing they hear from a buyer, or really relay that information or stay in contact with their sellers. I personally love staying in touch with my sellers. I keep them updated throughout the weeks and days and whatnot, and I tell them what I hear, what potential bidders and buyers are saying about their land, and keep sellers up to date. But with a FSBO, you would hear everything coming in, which could be a con as well, because I can't tell you the amount of phone calls I get about questions about land and the property and whatnot. So it could be a hassle to you as a seller if you choose to do for sale by owner. Let's go into the cons about for sale by owner. You do have to do all the marketing and advertising on your own unless you decide to hire it out third party. thankfully at Dream Dirt we have Kristen, who is our communications manager, and she does all of our marketing and advertising for us. All the flyers you see, photos, she pieces together the drone footage that I take of the farm. So she handles all of that. It looks amazing, and it is included free for the package that I can offer to you as a seller through Dream Dirt and as an agent and auctioneer with Dream Dirt. There's also no sense of urgency with a for sale by owner and with a listing compared to an auction. An auction really like motivates buyers and bidders to get their bids in, and because there's a set date and time of that auction. With listings and for sale by owners, this could take several months before someone even comes, knocks in the door or whatnot, gives you a phone call and say, hey, I'd like to make an offer. So there's just really no sense of urgency or motivation to really put in offers sometimes on listings and for sale by owners. You also have to deal with multiple open houses and deal with those type of buyers that want to come in and see it that night, that weekend, at odd times of the day. And you also, with a for sale by owner, you have to make sure the closing process is happening correctly, moving on the correct time frame and whatnot. With our auctions and listings, we actually have an in-house closing specialist, Stephanie, who handles all of it, and I stay in touch with her just to make sure the process is going smoothly. So if you do decide to sell your land by yourself, you would have to pay attention to that. And also understand when a buyer submits an offer, you need to understand all the terms and conditions and contingencies of that offer and be comfortable either declining it, counter offering it, or accepting it as well. So let's move into the last way that you could sell your farm, and that's what I like to call a private direct offer. It's the fifth way that I want to mention. There could be other ways that you could sell your land, but these are really the five that I just really want to cover. So a pro to a private direct offer is that it is completely private. You don't have to mention your name at all. I know there's a few people that worry and fear about that. They don't want their name displayed everywhere. They don't want their neighbors to know. Maybe it's a difficult emotional time for them, and they are just wanting it to be very private. We do offer that service at Dream Dirt, and much like an auction, you can set your terms and conditions for it, and your property will only be marketed to a few individuals, investors, big farmers that we know and we have a list of in a contact. So it doesn't have to be displayed on our website with your name at all. We will handle that directly and make sure it is very private. It can be a very fast process. We can limit it to a few days for those people that we contact to put in an offer. And you can also have a potential lease back on that. So if for some reason an investor did want to buy your farm and lease it back to you to be the renter, you could still farm that ground. So that is definitely a pro to having a private direct offer. Now the biggest con is that since it is private, you are kind of limiting the buyer pool, just because with a public auction it can be really widespread and everyone can see and go ahead and bid on your farm. So you might end up just maybe having not as high as price as what you might see in an online land auction where the buyer pool is open to everyone, it's public, but maybe this option is the best way for you since you just really want to keep it private and secluded. So those were the 5 methods, options of how you can sell your farm. And Jason was sharing just some information as well that the auction method is a huge advantage to the seller in addition to the ability to leverage competition to maximize the price. Yes, and back in the olden days, I don't even know what year, sometimes auctions were looked at, frowned upon, like, oh, you're just having an auction so you can get the thing sold and done. It's probably going to go for a low price, like, whatever. No, auctions today in the present, they are reaching the highest maximum value for your asset. And when you're selling $1 million land and really relying on that income coming from that sale, I truly believe, like I mentioned, our online land auctions are the most powerful way for our sellers to sell land. So thank you for mentioning that, Jason. So I've talked long enough. I just want to go through the quick rundown about the 5 methods. So the first one was a live bidding auction, which we call hybrid simulcast auctions, because at Dream Dirt we actually include live bidders and online bidders for when people come and show up for a live crowd as well. We do have one of those coming up in October. The second is an online bidding auction, timed online auction. You can check those out at bid.dreamdirt.com as well, or message me if you'd like to see videos of how online bidding works, how your potential land would look on an online land auction. I will gladly share a video with you and walk you through that whole entire process. Third was a listing, and where you put a price on your farm, and people call the agent and they submit offers that way. 4 was for sale by owner, so you handle it all on your own. You market and advertise your farm and receive offers that way. And the 5th was that private direct offer. So if you have any questions about either one, if you're ready to go to sell your land on any of those options of selling land, have a few more questions, or just want to chat, I give out free consultations. You can message me at just this page. Text me, call me. My number is 515-954-8063. We will be live on the Dream Dirt page again tomorrow. Like I said, we'll be talking about auctions, who is an auctioneer, all sorts of things auction related. So that's going to be a really fun one too. I hope these videos are just very casual and fun for everyone to watch. I love talking about this information. Man, sometimes you can't get me to stop about talking about it, especially if your friends or family, when you're sitting down with me and you start picking away about what I do every day. I can talk pretty much all night or a whole hour long. So I'll keep this 30 minutes. Like last week, I don't know what my next topic will be Tuesday, but I will be doing another live next Tuesday at noon over your lunch hour. And if you'd like me to cover a certain topic, feel free to message it to me today so I can get it in the works and start studying about it and get all the information to you next week. So take care, everyone, and have a great rest of the week.